working from up here, so you can read it on the board over here or on the other side of me. We're dealing with proportion and non-proportional relationships, which we just saw on today's bell work. Okay? The easiest thing to know is proportional if they have basically equivalent ratios, which is another thing like equivalent fractions. What does equivalent mean? Like, what's my one small?
Equal.
There you go. Say that again.
Equal.
Right. So if it's equivalent, they're equal. So if they have equal fractions or an equal constant, you've got proportions. If they can't equal each other, they're not going to be. So let's talk about this pizza party. Ms. Cochran is planning a year-end pizza party for her students. Ace Pizza offers free delivery and charges $8 per medium pizza. Complete the table to determine the cost for different numbers of pizzas ordered. So one pizza, it's $8. So if I order 2 pizzas, it would be
16,
3 pizzas,
24,
4,
32,
and 5.
40.
Okay, that's pretty easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then I go down and it's going to say, for each number of pizzas, fill in the boxes to write the relationship of the cost and the number of pizzas as a ratio in simplest form, meaning we need to reduce it. So I'm going to show reduce by 2, reduce by 2, and I get 8 over 1. What can I reduce 24 and 3 by?
3.
So I'm going to reduce by 3, and I'm going to get 8 over 1. 32 would be over,
4.
because remember it is cost, and I want you to write this down, per pizza. So I have 32 over 4, and show that I'm reducing by 4, and I get 8 over 1. 40 is over 5, and I reduce by 5, and I get 8 over 1. So it says, what do you notice after the simplified ratios?
It's repeating.
Or it has the same, right? 8 over 1 is the simplified ratio. So it is proportional. Turning the page. Says the two quantities are proportional if they have a constant ratio or unit rate. Please write that, or put a box around it. A constant ratio is like when we say equivalent fractions. For relationships in which this ratio is not constant, the two quantities are non-proportional. In the pizza example on the previous page, the cost of an order is proportional to the number of pizzas ordered. So it's the cost per pizza, and it was always 8 over 1, which is 16 over 2, 24 over 3, 32 over 4, and 40 over 50. They're all equal to each other because it equals $8 per pizza. Then it says, all of the ratios above are equivalent ratios. And we just said, like, a ratio is a fraction, so it's an equivalent fraction. Because they all have the same value. Now, what's going to help us with this is if I say K equals Y over X. This was on our notes at the beginning of the chapter. And what does K equal? K stands for constant. The constant of proportionality. If it doesn't have a constant, it's not if they're not going to be the same constant, they're not going to be proportional. And so then we can write an equation that says Y equals constant times X. So if I wanted to write a proportion for the cost per pizza, I would say Y equals, my constant would be $8. And then X. Y equals cost, X equals number of pieces. Now, before I even get into this next example, I want you to be on the lookout. I always kind of said this should be X over Y, right? Didn't I always say that this should be my X and this should be my Y? Okay, it's not gonna always be that way, because didn't I also say that cost is always over your item?
Yes.
Before I even read anything, isn't the cost on top?
Yes.
So that's really my Y
Yes.
over my X. So just be careful on that. So now let's go and let's read. Andrew earns $18 per hour for mowing lawns. Is the amount of money he earns proportional to the number of hours he spends mowing? Explain. So find the amount of money he earns for working a different number of hours. Make a table to show these amounts. So in 1 hour, it's $18. 2 hours, it's $36. It's because it's $18 per hour. We need to set up a formula like this. So Y equals how much? $18
Per
times what? X.
Oh, yeah.
Because my X is my number of hours. Because look here, Y equals my earnings, X equals my time in hours. So we have a proportional equation set up. But then to figure it out, we do Y over X. So 18 over 1 equals 18. 36 over 2 equals 18. 54 over 3 equals 18. 72 over 4 equals 18. So what's our constant?
18.
18. And we are able to write an equation. I'm going to write the K equals 18. All of the ratios between the two quantities can be simplified to 18. The amount of money he earns is proportional to the number of hours he spends mowing. Because we have this, it's going to be proportional. So let's do another example. At Lakeview Middle School, there are 2 homeroom teachers assigned to every 48 students. Is the number of students at the school proportional to the number of teachers? Well, we've got students per teacher. So we're going to write students per teacher. Students would be my Y. Teacher, it's always Y on top, X on the bottom. X would be my teachers. So there are 48 students, 2 teachers. What does, and then if I want to do another for 4 teachers, how many students would that be? 96, because that's times 2. So this equals 24, and this equals 24. So I want to make an equation. So what's 24? 24 is going to be my
Constant.
K, yes, my
Oh, yeah.
constant. Excellent. So Y equals 24 times
X.
X. Y equals the number of students, X equals the number of teachers. Notice that on this chapter, or I guess in this lesson, they have not once showed us this equation yet. I want you to get used to writing those equations for now. Get used to finding y and x. Because even though it's not on there, I will expect you to do it. Uptown Tickets charges $7 per baseball game ticket, plus a $3 processing fee per order. If I just want to start by writing an equation for this, this would be y equals, it's $7 per ticket, right?
Yes.
So I would be doing $7 times x, and then it says what?
Plus
And then I'm gonna plus
$3.
$3. You guys all need to write this down. Because I have a plus, is this going to be proportional?
No.
Anytime you have adding, subtracting, it's not going to be proportional. But let's solve it. The cost is my y, because it's always cost per ticket. The tickets is my x. So, let's figure out what the number of tickets. Let's just start with the x. Y should equal 7 times 1 ticket plus 3. 7 plus 1 is, or 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 makes 10. Then to figure out the next one, it would be y equals 7 times 2 plus 3, which is 14, plus 3, which is 17. Okay? That's how we're figuring it out to go in here. But now let's see if it's proportional. To find proportion, it's always y over x. That's my constant. So I'm going to come into my chart. Y is 10. X is 1. What does that equal? 10. Do it again. Y over x. Y is 17. X is 2. What's 17 divided by 2? 8.5. I can actually stop. Because do these two equal each other?
Nope.
Nope. So it's non-proportional. So because these ratios do not, or the constant does not equal each other, they're going to be non-proportional. Number 3. You can use the recipe shown to make fruit punch. Is the amount of sugar used proportional to the amount of mix used, and explain. So we're comparing sugar to the mix. Sugar is my y, the mix is my x. So, because it's sugar to mix. How do I figure it out? You just do y over x. Y is 1/2 over 1. That's showing me you have to do 1/2 divided by 1 over 1 is 1/2 times 1 over 1, which is 1/2. Go to the next one. Y is 1 over x is 2, which is 1/2. So that just equals 1/2. So far, do they equal each other?
Yes.
Yep. So then I have 1 and 1/2 divided by 3. Show 1 and 1/2 divided by 3, which would become 3 over 2 divided by 3 over 1. This is 3 over 2 times 1 over 3, which is 1/2. Is 2/4 going to equal 1/2?
Yes.
Yes. So are they proportional?
Yes.
Yes. What is, I'm going to write constant equals 1/2. So then to write my equation, it'd be y equals 1/2 x. What is y? Y is my cups of sugar. X is my envelopes of mix. At the beginning of the year, Isabel had $120 in the bank. Each week, she deposits another $20. Is her account balance proportional to the number of weeks of deposits? Use the table below to explain your reasoning. To start this, it is best by making an equation. Okay? So it says, at the beginning, she starts with $120 in the bank. So I have to start my equation with $120 in the bank. Then each week, I deposit 20, so then it'd be plus 20 times the number of weeks. Now look here. Now we have the cost on the bottom. So this is my y, this is my x. So they actually have this one set up like they're supposed to. But that's why you have to be careful. You guys understand that when you're looking at your chart. So I've written the equation. So now in 1 week I have 120 plus 20 would be 140. Then week 2 I do 120 plus 20 times 2, which is 40. So I have 120 plus 40 is 160. Then I do it again and I have now 180. Now let's see if they're proportional or not. It is always y over x. So I do 140 over 1 is 140. 160 over 2 is 80. Do those? No. So is it proportional? No, because they don't have the same constant. Yes, you would say non-proportional. Okay, let's look at another example. You guys see how you have to find the constant, you have to find an equation, you have to label x and y.
Yes.
The tables shown represent the number of pages Martin and Gabriel read over time. Which situation represents a proportional relationship between the time spent reading and the number of pages read? So it's pages per minute. Okay? So now we have our y over our x again. It's messed up, right? Pages per minute. So y over x.
You're off.
Oh, thank you. So we're going to have constant equals y over x, which is this. 2 over 5. I can't reduce it. Then 4 over 10, which reduces to 2/5. Then 6 over 15 reduces to
2/5.
So we have 2/5, 2/5, and 2/5. They all reduce. So is this proportional?
Yes.
Okay, now, what would be my constant then? Constant would equal
2/5.
2/5. So then let's look at Gabriel. 3 over 5, I can't reduce that. 4/10 reduces to 2/5, and then I have 7/15, which can't reduce. Do these fractions equal each other? No. So is there a constant? No. So it's non-proportional. it says all of the ratios between Martin's quantities are 2/5, so Martin's reading rate represents a proportional relationship. And then we would be able to write Martin's as y equals 2/5 x. Y is your pages, x is your time. So look at a couple more real quick. The Vista Marina rents boats for $25 per hour. In addition to the rental fee, there's a $12 charge. In addition, what do we do then if it says in addition?
Add.
Okay? So, let's not look here, let's try to write our equation. Y equals, it's $25 per hour, so I'm gonna say $25 times X, but in addition, I have to add another $12. Is this going to be proportional?
No.
No, because you have an addition problem there. But let's figure it out. My cost is always my Y, my rental time is always my X. So it always needs to go Y over X will equal my constant. So I've got 25 times, let's say the first hour, so 25 times 1 plus 12 would be 37. Put 2 in there. 25 times 2 is 50, 50 plus 12 is 62. 3 hours. 25 times 3 is 75 plus 12 makes
97.
87.
87.
Okay, now let's find the constant. Y is 37 over 1, that equals 37. Y is 62 over 2, what's 62 over 2?
31.
Equals 31. Then I could really stop there, because once you have one that doesn't work, it's non-proportional. But I'll just keep showing you the rest of the way. And that equals 29. So this is do we have a constant?
No.
So I'm gonna put a K and I'm gonna put like an X through it, like we don't have one. And then I'm gonna write non-proportional. Which situation represents the proportional relationship between the hours worked and the amount earned for Matt and Jane? Explain. Cost is always my Y over X. See, look at that. See, they switched it on us here, and they switched it on us here again, so we have to be careful. Cost is always Y, because constant equals Y over X. So let's figure out Matt's earnings. Y is 12 over 1, which is $12. 20 over 2, which would be $10. Okay, so do I have to keep going? No. Once you find one that doesn't work, stop. Jane, we have Y over X, so I have 12 over 1, which is 12. 24 over 2, which is
12.
Make sure you check. 36 over 3, which is
12.
Okay, so what's my constant equal?
12.
12. So then I can write my equation. Y equals $12 times X. X is my number of hours. Y is how much I earn at the end. You can go ahead and stop it.